Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors. Si quieren acceso al programa de hoy en español, por favor marquen el número que aparece en la pantalla, cuál es 646-749-3122. Cuando le levantan su llamada, por favor comparten el código que también está en la pantalla y es 779-328-221. Welcome, folks. This is the SOC. Let me adjust my camera. This is the SOC Fall Primary Vote-A-Thon. We have been and will be with you all day. We had an 8 o'clock forum. We have this 12 noon forum, and we're so excited because it's a youth takeover time. So you'll be seeing that the youth are hosting this segment. And then we have a 6 o'clock, and we'd love for you to be with us. What you just heard me do was invite our Spanish speaking neighbors, and they're accessing this program via simultaneous interpretation line. So they're calling in and able to hear everything that we do in Spanish. We have several guests that are with us today in pre-recorded sessions because sometimes we've had problems with live guests, so we are a little more cautious now. And so I'd like to say that the views and the opinions shared today are not necessarily those of SOC. And then I want to share an editorial from SOC, which is, again, we're faced with constitutional amendments on the ballot. And the issue there is, although we voiced our concerns, the last cycle we had amendments, they haven't really landed and haven't been responded to. And this is what we're hearing from folks. These are the things we're hearing from folks about the amendments that we're really concerned about. And we all have to kick up some dirt and make sure that they hear us on this, which is the language in which that amendment, those two amendments that you'll see on the ballot this cycle are written are not accessible to the average Wisconsinite. And so they need to make that language a language we can all access to understand. And this is critically important as we consider this is a constitutional amendment. This is not just a referendum or an opinion. A referendum is when you get opinion from the folks, and sometimes it's just as advice, and sometimes it's binding, which means then they have to implement what the voters said. So it's a constitutional amendment, high critical impact for us to help make a decision, and the language is super confusing. The other parts about being able to respond to a constitutional amendment is you need, and when I say you, the state elected and administrative, those people who work for them, need to do due diligence, meaning they really have to put equal effort into how important this amendment is. So if it's constitutional, a lot of effort to do outreach and education for the folks to be able to weigh in on such a critical issue. And so help me kick up some dirt, call your state representatives, the governor's office, etc. All right. Some of them have control over these things, some of them don't, but everybody needs to hear the message. If you would like to contact us during this Vote-A-Thon or at any time, you can reach us by phone at 414-672-8090, 414-672-8090. And our website is soc at socmilwaukee.org. That's SOC at SOCMilwaukee spelled out.org. And you can visit our website at that same address, www.socmilwaukee.org. We love to hear from you. More importantly, we'd love to really work with you to ensure that you have a voice and a vote and a vehicle to organize together. It takes a whole village, folks, to pull off these virtual vote-a-thons. And so help me celebrate and thank the whole SOC team. As I said, I'm the executive director and lead organizer. Carmen Ortiz is our legal and program coordinator, director, and she is the coordinator of the Vote-A-Thons today, and she hosts she hosted at the 8 o'clock, and she'll be hosting at 6 p.m. And then we have Stacy Carlos, organizer, and she's the lead here on public resources, and she is doing comments and backing up production. And then Mario Canacasco is our communications and digital organizing coordinator. He is doing the production today and set up and is managing our bilingual services. Jeanette, our organizer of the youth program, worked really hard with the youth on all the incredible art and videos and posters that were created. And she'll be partnering with the youth on this youth takeover, right? That's happening shortly. And then hello to Alexis and Isabel, our two youth leaders who will be with us on the Vote-A-Thon, and the rest of the youth are here on scene observing, as that's our training model. We model, and then we share, and then someone leads, and we coach them, and then they go solo and just have backup. And then thank you to Tony, Tony Chavez, our operations director, who made sure that we're all fed and well taken care of, and managing time and problem solving. And then Wilma Ortiz is our operations and program assistant. And although she's not with us today, she always is a consistent, nurturing, and helpful soul. And then we'd like to welcome our newest member to the Vote-A-Thon, which is Jorge Perez, who is our youth and leadership consultant. And he is shadowing, learning how to do some of the production pieces today. Shout out to Luz Sosa, who is doing our interpretation. We have a whole group of people we hire to help us do interpretation. And so, as I said earlier, we have pre-recorded videos. So what you're going to see throughout the Vote-A-Thon today are informational videos. Plus, we have a whole selection of community members who are doing a rah-rah to inspire you to vote. With that said, I'm so excited, so proud to turn over the hosting to the youth program. So with us now is Jeanette and Bella.
Greetings, everyone. We welcome you to our SOC Youth Takeover. My name is Isabel, and now I'll be introducing Caroline Gomez-Tom with a video on why is it important to vote.
Caroline Gomez-Tom here, Milwaukee County Supervisor, District 14. And today, August 13th, is Election Day. And I'm encouraging you to go out and vote, make sure your voice is heard, and make sure that you are electing representatives that are going to put in the work for your community. I hope that you feel empowered today, and make sure your voice is heard. All right, let's go do it.
Thank you, Caroline, for that message. I would like to shout out our youth who are working here today. Isabel, our host, our co-host, Tay and Kimati, who are working with production and comments, and Alexis, who will be shadowing Carmen today during this Vote-A-Thon. I appreciate all your hard work, and I just wanted to shout you guys out. Next, we're gonna have Carmen come on and demonstrate how to use the myvote.gov website.
Thank you, Jeanette and Bella. And I have Alexis here with me, and we're going to do some interactive sharing with the My Vote Wisconsin site. Alexis, you can say hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Let's go and present. And I know that sometimes this is a little clunky, but give me a second to share my screen. Okay. A larger font so it's easier to read. Okay. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties with the sharing. All right. For the My Vote Wisconsin, this is a very good tool to find out different parts of the voting process. Um, Alexis, you had a question before about one of the items on this site.
Well, my question was, what's on my ballot?
Okay. If you click on what's on my ballot, we can go to the street address. We can use the Layton Boulevard, which is our address at SOC, and click search. And you'll see here that this is a partisan primary. You see a sample of the ballot. It tells you that this is a Democratic, Republican, Constitution, Libertarian, and Green, Wisconsin Green Party. Then it enumerates or lists, better say lists, the candidates that we have on the Democratic portion of the ballot, Congress District 4, Assembly District 9, and the different other district attorney, county clerk, and other positions that are included. One of the positions that, one of the items that shows in this ballot is also the questions, the constitutional questions that are going to be decided. If you can see just at the end of the ballot, it has the referendum questions for the constitutional amendment. So that way you can take a look and think about it. And within the program today, we're going to have the information about how to understand a very confusing language of these constitutional amendments. If we go back to the beginning of the page, we can go back to the finding my polling place, which is another question that a lot of people has. Again, we're using the Layton Boulevard as an address for finding your location. It tells us here that we vote at Duffler School. This is the 215 ward, and it also gives us a map of the area, so you can see where is the place located. Oh, another thing that is provided in this site is the name and email address and phone number of your municipal clerk. We can show it highlighted there. And for more information, you can always go back and click those links, and it will take you to different locations. Let's take, we know now what's on our ballot. We know our polling place. But what do we do when we get the ballot and we're ready to vote? We can go, if you had the time to send an absentee ballot, you could have done that before, but now it's too late. But you still can bring your ballot to the ballot box or take it to the drop boxes that are spread around the city, mostly at the libraries. That's called voting absentee. If you still have to register, you can register at this site, but because today is election day, you should be able to register at the polling place. And to do that, you need your ID and you need proof of where you live. If your ID, your driver's license is current and it has your address, the place where you live right now, that's all you need. You just bring that one to the polling place. But if you moved, you've been in the location for less than 28 days or a little bit more than 28 days, but you don't have the correct address on your driver's license yet, you have to bring proof of where you receive your mail. It could be proof of your cable bill. It could be proof of your electric insurance, electric bill, your insurance, anything that has your name and the place where you're residing. Let me see. Once you have your registration, you're coming to the voting location. You have to provide that ID to the poll worker. The poll worker will look for your name in the book, and you'll have to sign the book, and you'll get the ballot and that they provide at the location, and that's how you can finish your vote. Let me go back to the beginning of the site. If you vote absentee, if today you're watching this program and you think, but I voted already, that's fine. One thing that you could do is go back to the system and track your ballot where it says track my ballot. By providing your name and your date of birth, you should be able to see what happened with that ballot. Sometimes people have, they're scared that something happened and their ballot is not going to be counted. That is very difficult, and you can track the ballot through the system. And again, if you have an absentee ballot in your possession, you can take it to one of the drop boxes today until 6 o'clock. So I hope that this is helpful. Alexis, do you have any questions about this site?
No.
I think it's very user-friendly once you get into it. Thank you, and please go out and vote.
I think we have a question in the comments, Carmen, if you can answer. It's from Gladys. I have a question. Since the nomination changed, do I need a new absentee ballot, or can I go to the polls and vote?
Oh, okay. You mean if the presidential nomination changed?
Yes.
I think that I don't have an answer for that. I think that I believe that will be something that the party will have to address at some point. Yeah, I guess we have no choice because those are the only choices that are provided to us. And now that you're giving me this opportunity to clarify something else, I was asked to explain what partisan means. If we go back to the ballot, let's go back to the address and do a little bit. It's stated in the ballot that this is a partisan primary. That means that the parties are all voting in the same primary election. And partisan means each party, like the Democratic, the Republican, Constitution, Libertarian, and Wisconsin Green Party. That is the partisan election when you have to decide between some parties. Let me go back. I'm looking at this sample ballot here, and it's not showing the Democratic. But let's go back and get to the referendum. The referendum is basically the system that they're using to ask people to make a determination regarding the questions. It's basically a question that's posted in a ballot. That's a referendum. You're asking for the opinion from the people. But in this particular case, it's not the opinion, because this is the actual constitutional question that they want to be resolved in this primary. So we're not going to get it back in November for an additional vote. So this is it. You have to make sure that you answer that after doing some research. And we're having Tammy here again.
Yeah. So we have a question in the comments. You can leave Carmen and Alexis on. We have a question from Clary. I have a question, she says. Since the nomination changed, do I need a new absentee ballot or can I go to the polls and vote? And then she says, yes. And so, Clary, I'm assuming that what you mean is now that the Democratic nominee has changed. Can you verify if that's the question you're asking? And welcome, Clary. Clary is our founding president of the Alumni Association. So it appears that the Democratic Party already did its selection process for a replacement. So it wouldn't be on the ballot because there's not two Democratic contenders. The party voted and they voted Kamala Harris to replace Joe Biden. So that's why you wouldn't see a difference in the ballot. So you won't see, like, if I brought up my ballot, it doesn't show a presidential primary. So it shouldn't be on your ballot. You should be all good.
If you have your ballot and you want to bring it to the polling place, that's fine. But also you could ask for a new ballot and they will just spoil or just set aside the one that you brought in and give you one that doesn't have the presidential election for the Democratic Party.
Carmen, can you bring up the My Vote site one more time?
Yes.
And then put SOC's address in one more time, and then click Democratic on the top for partisan, which means which party, and then slowly show that so people can see.
Can you see that I'm clicking on the Democratic?
Name the different categories there.
We have in the partisan primary, we have the Democratic that is highlighted here.
Because the question is about Kamala Harris, who is in the Democratic Party. That's why we're showing the Democratic Party.
Yeah, we no longer have that option on the online ballot. Because as you explained, that decision was already made.
So can you just go through each of the Democratic Party there and see what they're voting
for,
and just say what they're voting for?
Right. In Wisconsin, what we have right now, and it might not be the one that reflected in the paper ballot because this was recent. Right now we have for United States Senator, we have Tammy Baldwin. She's running unopposed for the Democratic Party. Then we have Representative Congress District 4 and Congresswoman Gwen Moore is also running unopposed in the Democratic section.
You could just share the titles so that they see who they're voting for, and then they see that there's not a presidential in there. So the titles are good enough.
Okay. Representative to the Assembly District 9, we have 2 Democratic members running in that primary. For the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office, there's only 1 Democratic person running for the office. Also for the Milwaukee County Clerk, there's only 1 person running unopposed. For the county treasurer, the Milwaukee County treasurer, there's a primary, 2 individuals are running on that position. For the County Register of Deeds, there's only 1 incumbent and he's running unopposed. And then we have the 2 constitutional referendum questions.
And I just want to point out for folks, incumbent means that a person is running who holds the office currently right now. So incumbent means I hold the office and I'm running again. And then just to be clear again, just wanting you to be seeing that there isn't for the Democratic Party or any of the parties now because they have their nomination as far as I remember. There isn't a presidential selection here. And also your ballot might look different because we put in SOC's address. So it's whoever covers SOC's address, but you might be in another part of the South Side that might have different selections, FYI.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Back to you, Janet.
Thank you, Carmen. Up next, we will be showing you the video of many of your favorite SOC youth on why we feel it's important to vote.
Hi, it's Jeanette, the youth coordinator here at SOC, and I feel it is important to vote because so many people before us fought for our right to vote. So we need to use our voice to be the change that we want to see in our community. And that starts with us using our right to vote. Your vote, your voice, that's all that matters. Let's get out and vote.
Hi, my name is Isaiah. I'm 18. I was a SOC Youth alumni. The reason why I think it's important to vote is because people have a voice in government and who have better funding for schools and our communities.
Hi, my name is Isabel. I am a youth organizer here at SOC, and although I can't vote, voting is important to me because it gives people an opportunity to use their opinions to create change.
Hi, my name is Jade, and I think it's important for grown-ups to vote because it'll help in the community and it'll help all around the world.
Hi, my name is Alexis, and I'm a youth organizer. Even though I can't vote yet, it gives us a voice for our future, period.
Hope you enjoyed seeing some of our youth and one of our alumni, SOC Youth alumni, Isaiah, who will get to vote in this election. And next, we're going to introduce Jonathan Zuniga from the City of Milwaukee Election Commission.
Hi, Jonathan. Thank you for being with us today.
Hello, Carmen, and hello, all of our SOC neighbors.
Yes, we have you back because we want to have some fresh information about voting in Wisconsin and particularly in Milwaukee. So can we start by introducing yourself and giving us your what do you do, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, my name is Jonathan Zuniga, and I work for the Election Commission. I oversee all of our election day voting, so all of 180 polling places that are open.
Wow, that's a lot of places. How can you manage addressing all the needs of the different locations?
Well, we have a great team of full-time staff here at the Election Commission, and we have a lot of temporary workers. And then, of course, we count on all of our poll workers who are at every polling place representing the Election Commission and helping voters. So I'll just plug in here that we are always looking for poll workers on the South Side, especially bilingual.
Yes, and since you mentioned that, I'm going to ask you, is there a number of bilingual people that can help individuals that need some assistance?
Are you saying, is there a number we want to get?
No, a bilingual worker. Do you have bilingual workers at the polling places helping
Yes.
people?
Yes, so we usually have around 150 of poll workers at particular sites where we know, we need folks who speak Spanish. And then we also, in case that there isn't someone, we can translate over the phone. We have people at our office that speak Spanish and can translate.
What about the ballots? Are the ballots in Spanish also?
Yes, ballots are English and Spanish, and we try that all of our signage at every polling place is bilingual as well.
Okay. And Jonathan, do people still have time to vote absentee? And can you tell me a little bit how can they do that?
Yes. So if you are out there and you still have your absentee ballot, you have a couple of things. So you have until 6 p.m. to go drop it off at our drop box. at they're all located at a Milwaukee Public Library. So on the south side, it would be, Sablocki Library, Mitchell Street Library, Tippecanoe, Bayview Library. So you have until 6 p.m. to drop it off at our drop box. Now, if you don't make it by 6, then you can come to our Central Count location, which is 1901 South Kinnickinnick. You have until 8 p.m. to drop off your ballot. So we have to have it in our hands. The Election Commission has to have it by 8 p.m. So you have at 1901 South Kinnickinnick Avenue. So luckily, that's also on the south side for our south side neighbors. Now, let's say that you have your absentee ballot, but you're okay going to the polls and voting. Then that's okay too. Then you didn't return your absentee ballot, so you can go to your polling place, your designated polling place, and vote there as a regular voter as well.
So I bring that ballot with me, or should I get a different one at the location? Or
You're gonna get so if you bring it with you, if you bring your absentee ballot and an envelope, we're gonna spoil it for you, and then you're gonna get a new one. You're gonna sign the poll book. You're gonna show your ID as any other regular voter.
Got it. And Jonathan, the logistics about getting registered to vote, if somebody moved to a new location, can you tell us a little bit about, like, how many days do they have? What kind of information are they supposed to bring, and et cetera, et cetera?
Okay, so if you moved or changed your name since the last time you voted, you can go ahead and register on election day, today on election day, at your polling place based on your address. Now, you should go to either myvote.wi.gov to find out what's your polling place for your address. There's been redistricting at the state level, at the city level a couple years ago. So maybe if you haven't voted since the last presidential 4 years ago, maybe your polling place changed. So just make sure you go out there, myvote.wi.gov, and check what is your polling place for your address. Go there. And then once you're there, if you want to register, then you will need a photo ID and a proof of residence. So if you have your driver's license or ID from the state of Wisconsin and it has your current name and your current address, then that's all you need, because that counts as photo ID and proof of residence. But let's say you have an old ID that has your old address, then you can bring in something like a We Energies bill or a phone bill, a bank statement, a letter from any government agency that has your current address. Now, that's I just mentioned a couple of examples. There's a list of documents that you can provide that will show that will be proof of your residence. So, and we're talking about proof of where you live. So there's a whole list. If you go to a polling place, you can ask for that list, and the poll workers will provide it. And then an important thing too is that that proof of residence documents, you can show it on your phone, so it can be an electronic version. So if you can, many of us now have maybe a We Energies bill that we can download, or a bank app, and we can download our bank statement. So that's okay. You can just, as long as the poll worker is able to see your information, that counts as your proof of residence document.
Excellent. That's good to know. And I know that there are different contests in the different locations. I'm looking at my vote in the area that I work for SOC, and it's a primary election, but it's also an election to the Senate. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes. So there's a lot of things on the ballot for this election. So it's a partisan primary. So what that means is that we have all 5 parties on the ballot. And so we have the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the Constitutional, Libertarian, and Wisconsin Green Party. And that means that you have to choose to vote within one party primary. Okay, you can choose any. It doesn't matter which one you want to choose, the Democratic, the Republican, the Green Party, whichever you want to choose, but you just have to stick within that primary. And within that primary, there's a U.S. Senate, there's U.S. representative, and then there is state assembly. There are some state senate districts, half of them are on the ballot. And then there's some county races like the treasurer, register of deeds. And then there are county other races. Those are the only ones: federal, state, and county are what's on the ballot. And then after that, there are 2 referendum questions as well. So that is at the end of the ballot there. So let's make sure we have instructions at every polling place so that you don't miss it. But please make sure you look for those 2 referendum questions at the end.
And the questions are suggesting constitutional amendments. Is that correct?
That is correct. So there are 2 changes to the Constitution, and I can bring them up in just a second here. But yes, and I think an important thing also to remind people, we get this question a lot, is you, like I said, you can choose any party you want to vote for within that primary, but you are not stuck with that party. Like if you vote Republican for this partisan primary, for the general election in November, you can vote for any other party, Green Party, Democratic Party, and vice versa. So just because you voted within one party primary in this election doesn't mean that now you have to vote for that for every election.
And Jonathan, we're not going to get into the details of the constitutional questions. We just want to make sure that people understand that those 2 questions are there and are also part of what the items that they need to address.
Okay.
What about voting assistance in terms of people that are disabled and have difficulty getting into the poll? Is there a way to reach out to get that done?
Yes. So with that, at every polling place, you can vote from the curbside, from your car. And we have some really nice vote here signs that are in English and Spanish. They're in a teal blue. And at the bottom of those sandwich boards has a phone number, which is 414-286-3963. Again, 286-3963. You call that number to let us know, hey, I'm outside and I would like to vote, get some curbside assistance, and we will send the poll workers out there. Now, if you have someone with you that can go inside and let the poll workers know, that also works and it's probably faster as well.
That sounds great. And we will make sure to post these phone numbers and the addresses that you provided to us. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm sure that we'll have a lot of questions, but I'm also sure that we'll have you back at some other occasion. Thank you,
Yes.
Jonathan.
Any questions? Call us 414-286-3491. Any questions, English or Spanish?
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Just want to say hello to our viewers, and we do have another question from my mom, Clary. What if you live at the same place, but your ID expired?
Good question. We have one of the resources that are very close to us, which is Vote Riders. And I'm going to make a little plug to Vote Riders here. Because they are helping people obtain, whether it's a driver's license that was expired, or if they need a U.S. passport, or anything that needs to be produced to get registered to vote, they can help you with the resources to obtain those IDs, such as birth certificate. If you need to get a birth certificate from somewhere, they can assist with that. In the immediate question that you have, if you live in the same location and your ID is expired, depending on the ID, you can renew it. If it's an ID, it might take you more time if it's a driver's license, but you could still use that to say who you are. you need to bring proof of your current address. And the best way is a mortgage statement, a rental agreement, your phone bill, and your electric bill, something that has your address, your current address, some document that comes from the government office. That is something also a document that you're able to use to prove where you live. That will be your proof of residency, where you live, and proof of who you are is your ID, even though it's expired. It's best if you can get the ID with your current address and renew that. And that's why I'm giving you the vote writers information, because they can help.
Thank you, Jonathan and Carmen. Up next, I'll be introducing our wonderful neighbor and alum, Drea Rodriguez, with the Why It's Important to Vote video.
Hello, SOC viewers. I'm Drea from the near South Side. Civic engagement is my way of making a real difference in Milwaukee. Ignoring politics is a privilege I cannot afford, especially because my existence as first-generation Latina is political whether I like it or not. It is both my responsibility and my honor to vote for those in my family who cannot vote today. Change might be slow, but when we unite, we are powerful. I refuse to be a bystander in Milwaukee. That's why I vote, and that's why my children will vote too. I hope you get out there today if you haven't voted yet. Thank you so much, mi gente.
Thank you, Drea. Up next, we have a video from Yuseli Flores with answers regarding constitutional amendment questions.
Everyone, today we have Yuseli Flores from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. She's here to talk to us about the constitutional amendment questions that we will be seeing in our voting this Tuesday. Hi, Yuseli. How are you?
Hi, Carmen. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Again, I'm the Racial Equity and Economic Justice Advocate for the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. We are a proud member of the Wisconsin Voting Rights Coalition, who has been tracking recent changes in our ballots, as well as wanting to inform people about what to expect with these questions.
And Yuseli, we invited you here because we have heard from many people that some of these questions are kind of confusing and sometimes the meaning is not very clear. So we have you to explain the questions a little bit today and give us some reflection about what they mean and what is the purpose behind it.
Of course, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to share my screen quick so we can read these together.
Perfect.
Awesome. So like you mentioned, Wisconsin voters will be asked 2 questions to amend. And this basically means to change the Constitution on their August ballot. These changes will impact both the process for distributing federal money and who will have the power to make those decisions. These changes will impact a wide range of issues that voters care about, anywhere from education to the environment to how quickly the government can respond to emergencies, for example, a public health crisis or a natural disaster. So we want to make sure voters are prepared to answer these questions in the August 13th ballot. And this is currently what the Chapter 16, Section 54 of the Wisconsin Constitution reads. So this section of the Wisconsin statutes authorizes the governor to accept and allocate federal funds. And it's, currently it says that whenever the United States government shall make any money available to the state, funds for education, the promotion of health, the relief of indigency, the promotion of agriculture, or for any other purpose other than the administration of the tribal or any individual funds of Wisconsin natives, the governor on behalf of the state is authorized to accept the funds so made available. In exercising the authority herein conferred or given to the governor may stipulate as a condition of the acceptance of the act of Congress by this state such conditions as in the governor's discretion may be necessary to safeguard the interests of our state.
So basically, right now, the governor has the ability to take and accept this federal funds. Okay.
That's correct. Currently, that's state law. That's what the governor has done for, since Wisconsin was a state. Mm-hmm. What they are trying to do now is that they're trying to change, and question 1 will say, question 1, delegation of appropriation power, shall section 35, parentheses 1 of Article 4 of the Constitution be created to provide that the legislature may not delegate its sole power to determine how money shall be appropriated. So the amendment would prohibit the Wisconsin state legislature from delegating its power to appropriate money. The amendment was placed on the ballot with another question that would also require legislative approval via a joint resolution before the governor can expand federal money appropriated to the state. So currently, like I read before, before changing anything, it authorizes the governor to accept and allocate federal funds. So this is basically what a vote yes would mean, is that you would support changing the Constitution to prohibit the legislature from delegating its power to appropriate any money, and a no vote would oppose amending the state constitution to prohibit the legislature from delegating its power to appropriate any money. So a no vote would keep everything the same. A yes vote would change things. Okay. And then if we move on, this is just, people that support the amendment and people that oppose it. And this is only for information only. So the people that support the amendment received unanimous support from voting Republicans during both considerations of the amendment. And then people that oppose the amendment include the Wisconsin Education Association Council, the Wisconsin Association of Local Health Departments and Boards, Wisconsin Conservation Voters, Wisconsin Public Health Association, and recently added to Ballotpedia are the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin, Common Cause, All Voting is Local, America Votes, and other pro-democracy groups. So now moving on to the second question, because remember, this is a twofer. Question 2 reads, allocating of federal monies shall section 35 of part 2 of Article 4 of the Constitution be created to prohibit the governor from allocating any federal monies the governor accepts on behalf of the state without the approval of the legislature by joint resolution or as provided by legislative rule. So the amendment would change. So this is just how the amendment would change how federal funds are allocated. So the amendment would require legislative approval from both parties and then the governor via a joint resolution, again, both parties, or legislative rule in order for the governor to allocate federal funds on behalf of the state. So currently, state law authorizes the governor to accept and allocate federal funds, but the resolution that placed this amendment on the ballot placed this second question, which would prohibit the legislature from delegating its power to appropriate money. So basically means it'll deter the governor from his powers, which is written in the Constitution that he has. Again, a yes vote would support changing the Constitution, and a no vote would keep the status quo the same. Again, these are people that support and people that oppose. So currently, this amendment received unanimous support from voting Republicans, but the amendment was unanimously voted against by voting Democrats during both legislative sessions. The amendment is also opposed by the Wisconsin Education Association Council, Wisconsin Association of Local Health Departments and Boards, Wisconsin Conservation Voters, Wisconsin Public Health Association, Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, League of Women Voters of Wisconsin, Common Cause of Wisconsin, All Voting is Local, America Votes, and other pro-democracy groups.
Thank you for sharing those questions. So can you tell us how does that work? What is the prohibition behind the amendments? how can that be implemented? Can you give us some samples?
Yeah, I could give some examples of how this change would have impacted us in the past. So at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Wisconsin State Legislature was actually one of the least active in the entire country. Legislators, unfortunately, they refused to come to work to deliver relief for Wisconsinites, just like everybody else, out of fear to leave their houses. But our governor was able to quickly distribute emergency federal funds to the communities that needed it. So we need to make sure that the governor can continue to distribute these funds efficiently and effectively. Red taping would basically stop the governor from doing anything, and it would basically make us wait for, Democrats and Republicans to play their partisan song, and then finally we would probably get a chance to do something. So again, like I mentioned, as I was talking, the Constitution, as how it is currently written, ensures that there's 3 branches of government, that they're all equal, that they have their own set of duties, and our government is basically a 3-legged stool. If you take out one leg, everything comes crashing down. So that's kind of what this change in the Constitution would do. It would create an imbalance in our government. So we're encouraging people to really just educate themselves on these 2 questions and really consider what it means when they do go out and exercise their right to vote.
And Yuselis, we will be putting some information on our website, on Facebook, giving people some links to the sources that you mentioned, so they can make their mind and take a position regarding the questions. We're not recommending any particular way of voting, but we want to be able to share as much information as possible. So
yeah, thank you. And I hope that everybody makes a sound decision. Currently, as it stands, it's actually easier for us as Wisconsin voters to hold the governor accountable for how federal funds are spent than the entire legislature. So the governor is accountable for the whole state, and he was elected in a fair election process. And so we're hoping that people, trust the processes that are already in place.
Thank you. Thank you for taking this opportunity to give us a little bit more information about the amendment, the constitutional referendum, and thank you.
I appreciate it so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Yuseli, and thank you to all our viewers. Please, if you voted, put your number in the comments. Next up, I'll be introducing a special message from Juan Miguel Martinez on the importance to vote.
My name is Juan Miguel Martinez. I am the county supervisor for the 12th district. I am outside of Zablocki Library about to cast my vote. The reason why voting is so important is because we hold these elected officials accountable when we vote. From our transit systems to our parks to fair housing initiatives and for mental health resources, these are all things that elected officials control. And if we want our communities to thrive, we have to vote. We have to vote in the right elected officials in order to be able to make these changes. We make the changes ourselves as a group. And when we do it ourselves as a group, we need to have somebody that we hold accountable in order to make sure that we get these things done. We are the liberators of our communities. We are the ones that make sure that we see the changes because we live in these neighborhoods, and we are the ones that want to make sure that we see the things that we want out of our neighborhoods. Get out there and vote and make your voice heard.
Thank you, Juan. Next up, we will show the voter rights video by the SOC Youth.
Happening right now. The polls are open today from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and should take around 15 minutes to vote.
We want to remind you that, like Jonathan Zuniga said, you have rights. If you're in line by 8 p.m., they must allow you to vote. If you have problems voting, please call the SOC office or call the ACLU hotline for English speakers and for Spanish speakers.
For more detailed information, please check the link below. Here you can find voter information, including your specific voter info. Register day of with all the proper identification, which includes your polling place is important because the recent census changed some of our districts, which resulted in some of our voting polls, location changes, and some sample ballots. Plus more info. Remember, it is important for you to stay connected to your vote all year round by holding your elected officials accountable for their promises and roles. And just a quick reminder from our SOC youth, your vote, your voice.
Our youth are so cute, and I appreciate all their hard work on making these videos and working with us today. I did want to shout out our youth who hit 1,400 doors canvassing, providing information about voter rights and other resources that our community could use. And I just wanted to shout them out. I got the number. It is 1,438 doors that we hit this summer. They've been working really hard, and I appreciate all their hard work. And if you guys see them out there in their blue vests, just say hi. We'd like to get our residents out there seeing us and, speaking to us. It makes it go better, the day go better. So we want to say hi to anybody that is watching. Hi, Abby. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you stopping in. Next, we will have a poem by the one and only Isabel. She wrote it, and we will play that video now.
The Ballad of the Ballot by Isabel Smith. In the dance of democracy, a powerful seed lies in the act of voting, a citizen's deed. A voice, a choice, a whisper loud, in the chorus of the many standing proud. From the bustling cities to the quiet rural towns, every ballot cast a hope that abounds. For a future painted with the people's will, every checkmark, every vote, a dream to fulfill. The ballot is our brush, the booth our canvas sphere. We paint our leaders with precision and care. A stroke for freedom, a dash for rights, a portrait of progress in the hearts of the fight. The lines may be long, the weight may test, but the power in our hands is truly the best. For each vote is a story, each choice a song, in the grand symphony where we all belong. Remember the struggles, the battles of the old, the fight for a voice that history has told. Women and men who stood undeterred, ensuring our voices would forever be heard. So let us march to the polls, a resolute wave, with the power to protect, the power to save. Our democracy, a garden we must tend, with the seeds of our voice, let us mend. For in every election is a small part, lies the essence of freedom, the beat of the heart. So cast your vote, let it soar, let it ring, in the grand, bold anthem as we sing. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Please go out and vote. Take a friend, a family member, and make your children.
We are going to close today by saying thank you to all our viewers. Also, we have some surveys that can be completed to win a $25 gift card. We have the post Vote-A-Thon survey. So it'll be a survey to let us know how we did on the 12 o'clock. And you can win a $25 gift card. We also have the post-pandemic survey to hear what our neighbors would like after COVID. We want to see what resources and what help we can bring to them. So if you finish that one, you'll be entered into a $25 gift card. And there's also the Con Plan survey, which is done through the city of Milwaukee, and that enters you into a raffle for an iPad. So we hope that you enjoyed the Youth Takeover. We hope to see you back at 6 p.m. for our last episode of the Vote-A-Thon. Thank you all.
Thank you.